Chapter 1. The Dress Fitting That Broke Me. "I'm here to pick up my dress," I said, my voice too cheerful for how nervous I felt. The boutique assistant looked up, hesitated, then gestured vaguely toward the back. "Room 3, she said. I smiled, hugged my coat tighter, and walked down the hallway lined with pastel gowns and gold-framed mirrors. My shoes tapped against the marble, each step lighter than the last. Today was supposed to be the start of everything. But then I froze. Inside room 3, under the golden lighting and in front of the largest mirror, was Celeste. She turned slightly, admiring herself. My dress flowed around her like water, soft ivory with tiny pearl buttons and the floral embroidery I'd helped design. "Celeste?" My voice cracked like glass. She didn't flinch. She didn't even pretend to be surprised. "Oh, hey." She turned fully, hands resting delicately on her waist. "I guess you weren't supposed to see it like this. Why are you wearing my dress?" My throat burned. "Is this some kind of joke?" She tilted her head. "It's not a joke. Mason and I, we're getting married." My heart slammed against my chest. "You're what?" "He chose me," she said simply. "I didn't plan it. We didn't mean for it to happen. But it did." I blinked, trying to breathe. "You're my best friend. You helped me pick this dress." She nodded. "I know. It's beautiful, isn't it? Looks better on me, honestly." "Where's Mason?" I reached for my phone. "He hasn't returned my calls in 3 days." "He blocked you," she said, still calm. "He said he couldn't face you, said you'd cry." "No," I shook my head. "You're lying. He wouldn't do this, not like this." "He already did. I thought you knew," she said, smoothing the front of the dress like she owned it. "We've been seeing each other for a while now." "How long?" I whispered. "Since before the proposal." Everything inside me crumbled. I gripped the doorframe to stay upright. "You were with him when he proposed to me?" She sighed. "I didn't think he'd go through with it, but he said you needed closure." My mouth opened, but nothing came out. I wanted to scream, cry, throw something, but I couldn't move. "You can keep the veil if you want," she offered, like she was doing me a favor. "It's not really my style." "I don't want your pity," I snapped. "I want my life back." "Well," she said with a smile, "you'll have to start over then." I took a step back. "You don't even look guilty." "Why should I?" Her eyes locked with mine. "You were always trying to live a perfect fairy tale. I just stopped pretending." I looked at her, at the woman who used to braid my hair, who knew all my secrets. And now she wore my dream like it belonged to her. I turned around. "Wait," she called. "You're not going to cause a scene?" I didn't answer. I walked out of that boutique, past the assistant who stared but didn't ask, and into the cold wind outside. The sky looked like it might rain. My hands were shaking. I opened my phone. Mason's name was gone. Blocked. Deleted. I looked at my reflection in a shop window. Pale face, wide eyes, dressless, alone. And all I could think was, I should have seen it. But love makes you blind. And betrayal makes you see everything at once. Chapter 2. The Messages I Was Never Meant to See. "You sure you want to do this?" Leela asked, hovering near my couch with a mug of tea I hadn't touched. "I need to know," I muttered, already unlocking Mason's old tablet. "If I don't, it'll eat me alive." She didn't say anything, just sat down beside me. The screen flickered on, and there it was. Our vacation photos, his playlists, some old documents. Then, a folder labeled simply, Archive. I opened it. The first thing I saw was a message from C. My stomach clenched. "Celeste. Missed you already. That suite felt like heaven. You looked so good when you were mine last night. Don't forget Friday. I reserved the corner booth. God, I whispered, hand over my mouth. They weren't just, they were celebrating it. Maybe it's not what it looks like, Leela offered, weakly. I clicked a photo. Celeste in lingerie, in a hotel room I recognized. Mason had taken me there on my birthday the year before. She was holding a glass of champagne, biting her lip. I handed the tablet to Leela. Tell me what you see. She looked for 2 seconds and flinched. I'm sorry. Look at the dates. I scrolled. This one's from a week before he proposed. And this, I tapped again. This one is from the morning after we signed the venue contract. Leela was silent. You said you saw her at dinners with him. I thought it was business stuff, she whispered. Mason always said you were working late. I never thought. I did trust them, I said bitterly. Both of them, with everything. I should have told you sooner. I didn't want to be the one to ruin it. They ruined it. I'm just seeing the mess. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I need to be alone. Please don't shut me out. I'm not shutting you out, Leela. I'm shutting them out. I opened my phone, blocked Celeste, blocked Mason. Then I tossed the phone on the couch like it burned. Leela stood slowly. Call me if you need anything, okay? I nodded without looking at her. Once she left, I curled into the corner of the couch. The room felt too quiet, the kind of quiet that screamed. I stared at the ceiling and whispered, how long was I the fool? I didn't cry. Not this time. This time, I planned. Chapter 5. The Mirror and the White Dress. Are you absolutely sure about this? Layla asked, holding the hanger like it carried nuclear power. I nodded. That's the one. She lifted the dress higher, letting the fabric catch the sunlight. It's bold. It's perfect. You wore this for that Vogue bridal spread, didn't you? 2 years ago, I said. They called it too daring for the aisle. Not anymore, she whispered. I stepped into it slowly. The satin clung to me like it remembered my shape. Off-shoulder, high slit. No lace, no apologies. Layla zipped me up and stepped back. Damn. I turned to the mirror. I expected to flinch, but I didn't. I stared at the reflection. No veil, no tears, no softness. Just clean lines, sharp eyes, red lips. Do I look like a guest? I asked. You look like a storm, she said. I smiled. Good. She paused. You're not going to cry when you see them, right? I'm done crying. You sure? I'm not going to that wedding to feel anything. I'm going to remind them I exist. Layla began unpacking her kit. Foundation or bare? Bare. I want them to see everything. The rage, the rise. God, I've missed this version of you, she said, brushing color onto my cheeks. Remember last summer in Paris? When I almost got arrested for jumping into that fountain? You said, if I'm going down, at least let it be with good lighting. I laughed. I was fearless then. You still are. You just forgot. Celeste wanted me quiet. Mason wanted me easy. And you gave them both that, didn't you? She said gently. I swallowed hard. I did. I gave too much. And now? I looked in the mirror again. Now I take it back. Layla nodded. Hair up or down? Down. Wild. She ran her fingers through my curls. You know, if you really walk in there wearing this, there's no going back. I don't want to go back, I said. I want them to choke on what they thought they buried. She leaned in. Just promise me something. What? If you feel the tears coming, don't blink. Let them fall. Let them see what they did. I'm not going there to cry, Layla. I'm going there to reclaim space. She finished the final touch, deep wine lipstick, and held up a hand mirror. I took it, studied myself. This wasn't the girl who waited for a man to call. This wasn't the girl who begged to be chosen. This was the woman who chose herself. "Let's do this," I said, standing tall. Layla grinned. "Let's ruin their perfect day." "No," I whispered as I slipped on my heels. "Let's redefine it." Chapter 6. The Whisper at the Wedding. "Ma'am, guests are being seated through the garden entrance," the usher said politely. I smiled. "I know. I just need a moment near the fountain." He nodded and stepped aside. I walked past the hedge-lined walkway, heels clicking against the cobblestone. My heart was a drum in my chest, but my face stayed calm. This estate, I knew it. Mason and I toured it once, back when love still tasted sweet, back when betrayal was unthinkable. Now I was walking through its halls as an uninvited ghost in white. As I rounded the corner, I saw them, guests in pastel silk, holding champagne flutes, murmuring under umbrellas. A few heads turned. "Is that? She looks like—" "No way, she wouldn't." I kept walking. I didn't flinch when I passed the planner, didn't stop when I passed Celeste's aunt, who blinked in horror. Just steps away from the aisle now. The music swelled, strings and violins, as fake and polished as the people clapping. I stepped into the ceremony space. Eyes snapped toward me, gasps, whispers. "She's wearing white? Is she the ex? No, she wouldn't dare." Mason stood at the altar, hands folded in front of him. Celeste was still walking down the aisle. And then she saw me. Her smile dropped. The music kept playing. I walked calmly, confidently, head high. My dress swayed with every step. I felt the cameras shift toward me, the air change. Celeste's eyes went wide. Mason's jaw tightened. I didn't break stride. I walked all the way up the aisle, stopped beside Mason, leaned in just enough that only he could hear me. "I hope she loves betrayal as much as you do." His breath caught. I turned slowly, making sure every camera caught the look on my face. Not grief, not rage, power. I smiled. Then I turned and walked back down the aisle, this time to an even louder chorus of gasps. "She's insane. No, she's iconic. Who let her in?" Layla met me at the end of the path, sunglasses on, calm as ever. "That went well," she said. "How did I look?" "Like a reckoning." I glanced back one last time. Celeste stood frozen in front of her guests, bouquet limp at her side. Mason's face was gray. "I didn't cry," I said. Layla grinned. "You smiled." "For the cameras," I whispered. "Good," she said. "Let them remember it forever." Chapter 7. The Speech No One Expected. "Anyone else?" the planner said, holding the mic gently like it was sacred. A few claps scattered as Mason's father sat down, his toast full of golf jokes and veiled jabs at Celeste's spending habits. The air was thick, almost relieved to move on. I stood up. Chairs shifted. A glass clinked. A woman gasped. The planner froze. "Ma'am, I'd like to say something," I said clearly. Celeste's head snapped around. Her eyes narrowed. Mason stiffened, gripped the edge of the table. The planner looked panicked. "I'm not sure that's—" "Don't worry," I said softly, walking toward the front. "I won't bite." Someone handed me the mic. I turned toward the guests, letting the silence settle around me. "Hi," I said, smiling gently. "Some of you know me. Some of you, well, probably just Googled me under the table." A few chuckles. I took a breath. I wasn't invited here, but I showed up anyway, and I'm glad I did. Mason shifted. Celeste's hand tightened around her champagne flute. "I came today not because I wanted to crash a wedding or make a scene. I came to remember who I am." Silence. "I lost a wedding," I said. "I lost a man I trusted, and a friend I loved like a sister." Celeste's lips parted, eyes sharp. But what I gained was something I'd never valued enough before. Myself. A woman in the second row blinked quickly. A man beside her set down his glass. You see, when everything's stripped from you, your plans, your love, your image, you start to see clearly. You see who stayed silent while it happened. You see who cheered you on while you fell apart. And most of all, you see who you are without the roles people boxed you into. I turned slightly, just enough to glance toward Mason. He didn't meet my eyes. Celeste looked like she might explode. I smiled softly. I'm not angry anymore. That was the old me. The me who kept quiet to keep the peace, who shrank so others could shine. A murmur rippled through the crowd. I came here today not to reclaim something stolen, but to show you all that I'm still standing, stronger, sharper, free. I paused. You can't take away what I found after the fall. You can't steal dignity. A hush fell so thick, I could hear someone's bracelet rattle. I nodded toward the mic. Thanks for letting me speak. And then I turned and walked calmly back to my seat. No applause, just stillness. Until one person clapped, then two, then more. Not a thunderous ovation, but enough to know the silence had shifted in my favor. Layla grinned from across the room. Celeste's expression was unreadable, lips tight, eyes glassy. Mason? He looked like he wanted to vanish under the tablecloth. Good. Let him sit in it. I leaned back in my chair, folded my hands, and let the room process what they'd just seen. Not a broken woman, not a bitter one, just a voice they couldn't silence. Chapter 8, The Cracks Beneath Their Cake. Did she really just... She did. I can't believe she actually stood up. I passed the murmuring guests with my head high, the echo of my heels sharper now. Behind me, the applause had faded, but the tension hadn't. I made it to the exit when I heard it. Her voice. Are you kidding me, Mason? I paused near the column. I told you this would happen. Celeste hissed. You said she wouldn't show. You think I could control that? She's unhinged. Oh, I'm unhinged? You didn't look so calm up there. Keep your voice down. No, you embarrassed me in front of my entire family. You embarrassed yourself the second you lied to me about Vegas. My eyes widened. I stepped slightly back, just enough to see them through the glass doors. Celeste gripping her bouquet like a weapon. Mason's bow tie loose and crooked. You really want to go there right now? She snapped. Because I heard about your little fling last week. What fling? Don't act stupid, Mason. Jessica told me. The hotel. The girl from catering. Ring a bell? A bridesmaid behind them gasped. Oh my God, she whispered to another. I told you, I saw him with someone at the bar on Thursday. I raised an eyebrow. You're making things up, Mason said, but his voice cracked. Celeste laughed bitterly. Of course I am. Just like I made up all those texts you sent me when you were still engaged to her? He glanced toward the guests. Lower your voice. But she didn't. No, you lower your ego. Someone's phone camera clicked. A guest whispered, Is this part of the show? They were unraveling, piece by piece. Celeste's bouquet hit the ground. Mason looked like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. I turned away. Layla met me by the side gate, her sunglasses now perched on her head. You saw? I heard. And? I don't have to lift a finger, I said, smiling faintly. They're doing it to themselves. Karma moves fast. No, I said softly. It moves when you step out of its way. We walked toward the car, and I glanced over my shoulder one last time. Celeste was now alone, shouting into her phone. Mason was gone. The cake stood tall behind her, still perfect. But everything around it cracked, and I didn't need to stay to watch it fall. Chapter 9. The Woman in White Who Walked Away. The grass was soft under my feet, damp, cold, but I didn't care. I'd taken off my heels the second I stepped off the stone path, and now I walked barefoot across the back lawn of the estate, the satin hem of my dress catching on the tips of the grass. Behind me, voices faded, muffled fragments of a crumbling celebration. Ma'am, ma'am, do you need assistance? One of the valet boys called, jogging a few steps behind me. No, I said calmly, not turning around. I know where I'm going. He stopped. I kept walking. The air was cooler now, the sun dipping low, throwing long shadows across the lawn. I could feel the tension I'd worn all day, sliding off me like the beads on that stolen dress Celeste had once paraded in. I didn't belong in that world anymore. I never really did. But I belonged in this moment. At the edge of the gravel lot, Layla leaned against her car, sunglasses perched on her head, hair tousled by the breeze. She didn't wave, didn't speak, just smiled. Hey, I said softly as I reached her. She opened the door. You didn't need to burn it down. You just walked right through it. I laughed quietly. You saw? Every second. You looked like you were born for that stage. I wasn't. She tilted her head. You sure? I looked like I belonged, I said, but not to them. Not to that life. To what then? To myself. Layla nodded like she'd been waiting to hear me say it. I climbed into the car and dropped my heels in the passenger footwell. They'll keep talking, won't they? Oh, for weeks, she said, starting the engine. You hijacked their wedding day with a smile and a whisper. That's going to live on in group chats for years. I stared out the window as we pulled away. Do you think he'll call? Probably. Should I answer? She glanced at me. Do you need to? I shook my head slowly. No, I think I already got everything I needed. What about Celeste? I hope she finds what she was so desperate for. And what do you want? Peace. But I didn't say it yet. I leaned back and closed my eyes for a moment. The road hummed beneath us. You know what's funny? I said finally. What? I don't even feel broken anymore. Layla smiled. That's 'cause you're not. They took everything I thought mattered. The man, the wedding, the fantasy. And all it did was clear the noise. Sometimes the mess is the mirror. And what did I see? She gave me a sideways glance. A woman in white who didn't ask for permission. We drove in silence for a while, the sky bleeding from orange to purple. City lights flickered in the distance. I thought I needed an apology, I said softly. But it turns out I just needed space. To become who you were meant to be. I nodded. I feel like I closed a book I've been trapped in, I whispered. And now? I start a new one. No groom, no traitorous best friend, just me. She reached over and gave my hand a squeeze. You're not alone, she said. I know, but even if I was, I'd be okay. We stopped at a red light. A couple crossed in front of us, laughing, hand in hand, carefree. I didn't flinch. I didn't ache. I smiled. They could keep the house, the guest list, the cake, and the fake promises. I walked barefoot out of that world with something far more malleable. Myself. And for the first time in a long time, I felt light, whole, free.